Welcome to the A2GP YouTube channel. In today's episode,
we're going to take a closer look at 9150 and 8050 Di2 rare derailleurs. Materials. Let's start with Dura-Ace. So we have the aluminium alloy body and outer plate, which is anodized instead of being painted. We've got a carbon fiber reinforced plastic bracket, and also inner plate or inner link. It's also made from carbon fiber reinforced plastic. The cage is carbon fiber, and the linkage is stainless steel or steel and cast aluminium. And you got the glass fiber reinforced plastic top cap, and the majority of hardware is either stainless steel or aluminium. On both Ultegra short cage and medium cage or long cage, we've got a painted aluminium alloy case, glass fiber cage plate or cage bracket, glass fiber reinforced plastic inner link, steel and steel, that's stainless steel, that's steel plate, and again the servo casing is pretty much exactly the same. We've got the painted aluminium alloy outer plate and inner plate, and then a glass fiber reinforced plastic jockey wheels. And the same goes for a medium cage. Visual and technical differences. Let's start with Dura-Ace. So Dura-Ace has an aluminium alloy body with an anodized finish instead of being painted, a carbon fiber cage bracket, and carbon fiber reinforced plastic inner link, and the outer plate measures 41 millimeters, which happens to be exactly the same measurement for Ultegra. So that's 41 millimeters. Ultegra has a glass fiber reinforced plastic here and there, and but you can easily swap servos, you can swap cages, so they're fully interchangeable. If you want to swap servo, you have to change the top cover, because obviously, as you can see, Dura-Ace has a slightly more machined area here, so that the servo inside is exactly the same. The only thing you need to do is to change the top cover, but other than that, they are pretty much the same. Long cage, as in previous versions, obviously, cage is only to take off the slack from your chain. The reason why this can go to 34 teeth is the outer plate is 5 millimeters longer. Not perfect, but we're talking about a 5 millimeters difference between short cage and the long cage, and as I've explained in previous video, obviously that's to allow for that jockey wheel to stay close to the cassette throughout the entire range. Unlike obviously if you're just gonna slap long cage on this mech and then crank up the B screw, you're going to lower the jockey wheel, and I agree that's going to clear the large sprocket, but it's also going to increase distance as you go towards the harder gears. Whereas obviously this one is a lot further, so that allows for chain to be completely wrapped around your cassette. Therefore obviously the shifting is much reliable. Another difference is pins on Dura-Ace are machined as in previous versions, and are full or solid on Ultegra to save weight. The final difference is retention bracket or stop, which prevents cage to wrap around your rear mech. This is short cage versus medium cage. As you can see, medium cage is a lot higher, and if you were to install a medium cage on a short cage, that's going to very likely hit your servo casing. Another tip is if you happen to break your Dura-Ace or Ultegra short cage or medium cage, you can actually use this part from mechanical Ultegra or Dura-Ace, not 105, only Ultegra or Dura-Ace, so you can swap that part if you want to. Just make sure obviously you keep that pin, because that safety pin is different on Di2 and mechanical. Servo Motors. So as I said before, the bottom bit is exactly the same. motor is exactly the same. PCB is exactly the same across Dura-Ace 9150, Ultegra 8050 short cage, long cage, and also it is used in GRX 815. The only difference between Dura-Ace and short cage and long cage Ultegra and GRX is gearbox. I'm gonna include a photo of a long cage gearbox because that's the short cage, and then obviously you can compare it on the screen. But there's difference in tooth count to allow for that 4mm, 5mm difference in the outer plate. So that top cap is on Dura-Ace and short cage Ultegra, and that one is in long cage or medium cage, or GS, so medium cage Ultegra. Motors, as I said before, are exactly the same. Axles, as you can see, they've been there was a weight saving exercise. So instead of having a 360 gear, we've got well, looks like a quarter, so 90 degree. And then on Dura-Ace, as in previous versions, that's a hollowed out to that point and also to that point to save weight. But you can easily swap them between Ultegra and Dura-Ace. There was no difference whatsoever, and the only difference is the gearbox. And I'm gonna put a picture in a video when I post it, because I don't have a spare long cage or medium cage gearbox. In the final part, I'm going to cover the common issues. So as in previous video, the biggest challenge we're facing is a faulty or failing O-rings, which are letting water in. That causes corrosion, as you can see here on the PCB. And sadly, I haven't found a way to fix it. A second one is when your RAM mech thinks it's in different gear than actually it is, and this is caused by, similar to in the previous versions, obviously that's your position sensor, that's a magnet. If you have a bumpy ride, or if you have a low battery, something, I don't know why and how that happens, but when it happens, that magnet sense, or that sensor is getting wrong or faulty informations, and it doesn't work as it should. And again, I think that Shimano factory has the master reset software. That's just a conspiracy theory, but I think well, the only way to do it for me is to take it apart and then reset it manually and then put it back together. I had 2 or 3 issues where, because obviously the external damage, similar to this one, that bushing inside the gearbox was ripped off, so that again needs to be replaced because there are no spare parts. As I've mentioned before, obviously you got loose brackets. I had one issue where I think someone was keep shifting when you had that buzzing noise, and that worm gear is being stripped. But again, that happened only to me once. These are the servo issues, to best of my knowledge. Another one mainly on Dura-Ace, because I haven't had any issues with body as such on Ultegra. I've heard about one when that snapped here, but again that was caused by accident. The good news is this is glass fiber reinforced plastic, and in my opinion is a better solution. It's more flexible, and therefore obviously it's more forgiving in bumps or if you do crash or something like that. 11 speed Dura-Ace, that's carbon fiber. It's a lot stiffer, the shifting is crisper, but it's less forgiving if something happens. So I've seen many occasions where that snap in half, or snap here, or that was ripped off here or here. So that's the biggest challenge I'm facing. Also because Dura-Ace has those pins instead of like Ultegra, which are full or solid. That allows for a soles build-up. So I had so far 3 cases where that main pivot here got seized and the unit was working fine off the bike. As soon as you install on a bike, it couldn't shift. You could shift it obviously if you push it slightly with your finger, that would work, but obviously without when as soon as you put the chain on, that wouldn't work. Without chain, it was shifting fine. So the only way to do it, you have to drill a pilot hole. I use a 1.5mm drill, then tap out that pin, clean everything off, then seal it back at the top, and then obviously install pin again, and that should work absolutely fine. But that's the challenging bit, obviously, if you want to save some weight and if you ride it in wet conditions, so a winter in UK or Northern Europe, or somewhere with loads of salt or humidity, so coastal countries, that might be a problem. But these are the main challenges. I haven't come across anything else. If you did, please let me know in the comments.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you have any questions, please comment below. Until next time, thank you and bye bye.